Welcome to Thebes, Greece. It's that time of year where we all get together and have a fight to the death or something. I don't really know. I'm the host of the show, not someone knowledgeable about it. I'm Joshua Meringue, and with the help of my partners in crime, Shivkesh, Bravin, Tasha, Anchi, Felix, Isa, Amaya, Laura, and Tian, you will learn about Thebes, Dionysus, and the ancient Olympics as a whole. This is one big family, if I do say so myself. So, we should start off with a little bit of background information on Thebes, which will be narrated by our group leader, Shivkesh. Personally, I think our leader could be someone better, like Dionysus, or Oedipus, or Joe Biden, all great leaders.
Thebes is a city located in central Greece, northwest of Athens. This city divides two districts of Greece, Boeotia. This name gives me a stroke, and Attica. If you take out the last A in Attica, you get my current living space. Thebes is a powerful city-state that is known for being the place where many tragedies occurred, coining the phrase Greek tragedy, but not really. One being that Thebes is a city-state where Oedipus' throne was. If you don't know who Oedipus is, you're missing out. Another being in Aeschylus' 7 Against Thebes, which is the third party in an Oedipus-themed trilogy, the best type of trilogy. Thebes is also called Ogygian by some classical poets. Sure, I look at this name and think orgy. Don't know if that's just me or not. During the Peloponnesian War, Thebes was sided with Sparta and had attacked Plataea, which was an Athenian ally, causing an open war. When they eventually won the war, the Spartans didn't give the Thebans the reward that they wanted, and the alliance broke up. Talk about a messy breakup, because if there's one thing that ancient Greece needed more of, it was violence. But don't even stress about it.
Thank you, Shivkesh, or as they say in Greek, tego kataplipshi. Let's move over to Bravin, who's talking about the founding of Thebes. It should be a relatively short segment, so it shouldn't take that much time. Oh, wow. Oh my Dionysus? Well, good luck, Bravin.
Hey guys, the founder of Thebes was named Cadmus. He was the son of Egner, who was the Phoenician king of Tyre, And his mom was named Delapassa, So as you can see, Joshua is already lost in the storyline. He had a sister named Europa, and now, if you know Zeus, you know he likes to mess around with girls.
No.
So, he abducts Europa while she is minding her own business. When they arrive at Crete, Europa realizes her predator was Zeus the whole time. Knowing this, they bear 3 sons, but she is married to the king of Crete. And at this point, Joshua left his will for us to read, Because Europa is missing, Agenor remembered Cadmus's father sent his 4 sons and his wife to look for her. And wow, that's commitment. They gave up. Wow, that's commitment. And Cadmus and his mom settled in trust. And the mom dies. And that's a big oath, man. Yeah, man, that's a big oath loss right there. And at this very sad death, Cadmus sets off to find his sister in Delphi, where he is told, guess what? Give up and find the city. How does he find this city? By following a cow, of course. So he built a city where the cow stopped. He built the city with the help of 5 Spartoi. The city is called Cadima, but renamed to Thebes, after the Thebes his father built in Egypt. That is a mythological story, and that is Joshua's remains. Well, I guess I'll be replacing him.
No, it's okay, you don't have to. I was just resting. Now we'll cover the more political side of Thebes, because, the whole world loves politics. Take it away, Tasha.
Thebes was a farming city, a city that farms, basically, very different from Jersey City. It was ruled by a few wealthy men who made the laws, the only ones who owned the land. This is an oligarchy, through and through. Athens controlled Attica and Thebes controlled Boeotia, making their governments and philosophies opposed. So while men in Athens had lots of rights and participation in government decisions, Thebes had nothing except for the 1% who made the laws, bought land, lived life, gaslit gatekeep girl boss. Additionally, Thebes sided with the Persians during the Persian War. Wow, we were traitors, but no, we were straight up traitors. Later though, Thebes did it. They adopted a version of a democratic government, meaning over were the days of just a few rich men leaders. Now men, still only men, could vote on elected leaders. Sure, only men, but at least it's a slight improvement. Yeah, on the topic of gender roles, if common men had nothing that they could do, women somehow had less than that. Inequality reigns supreme. But yeah, there aren't many details on the government and politics of Thebes.
That was politics, basically an oligarchy, not many rights for men and women, and Russia's attacking Ukraine. Oops, did I just say that right now? Let's just move on from that. Let's go from talking about Putin to talking about the opposite of Putin, gods. Specifically, our group god, Dionysus. This segment is brought to you by Anshi.
So Zeus, you know Zeus, absolute alpha male Chad. He liked a human named Samio because, of course he did. He visited and made love, yeah, to her without knowing who he was, just knowing that a god loved her. I don't really understand gods. Samio then made Zeus promise to her that he'd reveal his true form, which, in doing so, killed Samio. Zeus saved the baby Dionysus, though, by stitching him into his thigh until he was fully born. So that's how babies work? Anyway, Zeus bestowed immortality upon Dionysus, who grew up to be the god of wine, fertility, and a patron of the arts. Dionysus would be proud. He represented both sides of being drunk. He could bring joy and ecstasy, or blinding rage. Finally, a god that covers all bases. Dionysus also had a whole festival for himself, and a cult. I wish I had one of those. He married Ariadne and bore his children. So, his powers, he could make wine, which makes sense, he's the wine god, but he could also transform into a bull or a lion, because of the wine. One of his powers was the ability to drive mortals insane, which isn't really a power, like I can do that on a fly, and you don't see me bragging about it.
Wow, Dionysus sure was a god. And related to the topic of wine is the military. After all, military bartender is an official position you can have. Who better to talk about Thebes' military strategies and battles than Felix, who is very violent and drunk all the time. On coffee, I think.
One military strategy Thebes used was their sacred band of Thebes. Watch out, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. It consisted of 150 select soldiers, male lovers specifically. Interesting tactic, to say the least. They formed the elite Theban army, even ending Spartan dominion. However, like most things ancient Greek, it was annihilated by Philip II of Macedon and Alexander the Great's daddy. These fought in many battles, because of course they did. They were a part of ancient Greece. Of course, the big one they were featured in was World War II. Just kidding. It was the Battle of Thebes. Thebes rebelled against Alexander the Great's rule. Alexander got wind of this, and well, that's 6,000 lives that will never come back. Yeah, Alexander won. You're a great guy. Captured 30,000 people instead of killing those 30,000. See, he's not completely heartless. Turning back time a bit, there was the Theban-Spartan War, part of the bigger Corinthian War. This was after the Peloponnesian War. Spartan was a high, but committed hubris, trying to conquer too much. Like Athens before them, it eventually lost to Thebes along with Thebes' allies. How embarrassing. This was funny because they were on Sparta's side during the Peloponnesian War. Now the tides, tables, and things have turned.
Modern warfare sure does not compare to the classics. What is this presentation about? Oh yeah, the Olympics. And why do anything new when you can just reminisce about the past? That's why we'll be taking a quick detour and learning about the Olympics' past and origin. And who better to narrate the section than me? Because I constantly look back in my past and regret the things I've done, such as this. I ever wanted. This. When is it coming out? And this. Take off the shrink wrap real quick and. No, Issa's gonna be narrating the section. I was just playing with you.
So, this is the beginning. The very start of the Olympics that still stands to this day. The Olympics are usually held in Olympia. Wow, I wonder why it took place there. Most Greek city-states participated, and this event was to honor Zeus, as if he didn't get enough attention already. This was also a time to come together and feast. You know, it's funny that at a time of competition, it's also a time of togetherness. But considering these people fought every time somebody sneezed, yeah, I guess this was relatively peaceful. In fact, wars and invasions would be stopped just for the Olympics, which seemed a bit backwards. Just goes to show that we are devolving. The Olympics were first priority. Now we cancel them for what? A worldwide pandemic? Like that could ever hurt somebody. The Olympic Games, as you already know, take place once every 4 years, with one exception. This started as far back as from 776 BC to around 393 AD. Only Greek men could participate and watch. women were denied both. That's just cruel. The Olympics stopped because the Romans invading Olympia in 85 BC continued under Roman rule until being cancelled. This started again on April 6, 1896, and that eventually led to the slightly less relevant Olympics we have today.
What a trip down memory lane. Of course, not my memory, I wasn't born around then, but we haven't even talked about the sports offered at the ancient Olympics. Oh man, I hope they had skateboarding and ice hockey and Wii Sports, and no, they just had pancration instead. What a bummer. I guess we'll pass it over to Maya with sports.
Okay, so let's start off with the running events. There was the Stadion event, a 600-foot race. And if that wasn't enough, there was the Dialos, which was twice the Stadion. Oh, and of course, there was the Dolly Chose. Not Doritos, because you can die from doing one of those. The Dolly Chose is 20 stadia long, and that is 3,550 to 3,850 meters. I'll take the Cool Ranch, by the way.
I thought you said not Doritos.
Okay, so next up we got the Pentathlon, which was 5 events, because Penta, 5. It just makes sense. Those events were the long jump, discus throw, javelin throw, running, and wrestling. No Wii boxing, though.
No!
There were also a few combat-based sports. Wrestling, and as we mentioned earlier, boxing. No Wii. And Pankrathon, a mix of wrestling and boxing. There was also horseback racing, music contests, hunting, chariot racing, and team sports like torch races and everyone's favorite sport, religious ceremonies. Really hope they would bring this back because it wouldn't alienate anyone in the audience. Cleonetus of Thebes was the only Theban runner to win the Olympics. That's probably why they rebelled. They were just all kind of sad. Cleomenes of Thebes was the most known Theban athlete. He won the Pankrathon and boxing in the 141st and 140th Olympiad. You know he's famous when no one in the street could actually say his name right.
Yep, that's a classic Olympics for you, with all the sports you've come to know and love, except for bowling for some reason. Anyway, let's talk about people, because why criticize yourself when you can look at other people for criticism? There was no shortage of notable Theban people, and depending on your definition of the word great, some of these people definitely fit into that role as well. Speaking of great people, Laura will be narrating the section because it's absolutely huge.
Pindar was a famous lyric poet from Thebes and considered the best in all of Greece. I would say that's just an opinion, but he's a Theban, so it's actually factual. He wrote songs in many genres and victory ballads for those who won the Panhellenic Games. Some philosophers include Cebes and Simmias of Thebes, both students of Socrates and believers in cynicism. The bottom line of cynicism is that you should reject desires and accept the nature of things. Crates of Thebes, the third figure of cynicism, took this idea to an extreme and lived in poverty. I don't know why he's so popular for this. He didn't want fame, and there are millions of impoverished people out there. Moving on, our favorite fictional Theban from a tragedy story, Oedipus. What a guy. Killed his dad, had a little too much fun with his mom, basically peak male performance. Epaminondas was a general responsible for altering the balance of power between Greek city-states, breaking Sparta's military dominance, and innovating multiple new battlefield tactics. Aristides was a painter who drew political events and battles, but also, well, you could say expressive portraits, including one that portrayed every mother's worst fear, their baby sucking death from their breasts.
Definitely in my top 10 fears as a mother. Last is the decline of our city-state Thebes. It's a sad tale, a tale of death, for never was a story of more woe than this of Juliet and her Romeo. Wait, that's the wrong tragedy. Anyway, Tiana will be telling you this story and how it unfolds, and props to you for sitting there and watching this long. You're doing great.
F in the chat for Thebes. Thebes was a dummy-mommy city-state before their fall. When Alexander the Great was knocking on their door with an eviction notice, they rebelled. They clearly didn't read the room. Alexander the Great was, well, great. He was super mega chat, but I guess Thebes couldn't see that. They did win against Sparta, went out rebel against Philip of Macedon's little son. This draws parallels to stories where having the son in charge went well for invading powers. Maybe the same thing would happen here. No. Alexander killed 6,000 Thebans and enslaved 30,000. You know, I still can't tell which side won. There is another way that could have destroyed Thebes, like a really fun choose-your-own-adventure type deal. In the Play 7 against Thebes, which is part 3 of the best trilogy, the Oedipus trilogy, Oedipus's 2 sons are loved equally by him, and switch turns with the position of king. During Eteocles' rule, his brother went to gather 7 leaders to help him overthrow his brother. Healthy relationships. Something everyone dies. Go read the manga if you want. No matter which one of these endings you like better, you can't disagree that Thebes went out with a bang, and like a whole lot of murder.
Agreed. Not just at the end, but through their entire run, Thebes has been a prominent and an important city-state. Well, I hope you liked this presentation. We'll see you in the gym. And hey, if there's one thing you should take away from this video, it's that our Olympic group is way better than yours. I hope that statement ages well.